not gonna say most steak taco recipes out there are wrong. I'm just saying that I think that I found the one. Something about this taco feels complete. If I was being interrogated and I was told that I could only eat one steak taco for the rest of my life, hands down, it would be this one. No debate, no contest. It's surprisingly simple. Beef, salt, and pepper, not a ton of spices, a nice salsa, maybe a little onion if you want, and that's kind of it. The thing that makes this great is the technique. So that being said, let's make this, shall we? We'll start by charring our vegetables for a beautiful green salsa. And we'll make our homemade tortillas. And the two secrets. One, the way that we prepare the beef, which I'll show you in a second, but also an unbelievable crunchy, cheesy cheese skirt. And that is the secret to the perfect steak taco. Before we begin, remember, all these recipes are fully written out, directions and everything on our website. And we have a brand new website. It looks incredible. If you want a written version and a printable version, it's on there. Links in the description. Moving on with the recipe. So we have a lot of vegetables here. Not that many. 5 tomatillos. Ideally on the larger side. You're gonna peel their little husks off. Now, if you're wondering, Josh, what is this sticky stuff that gets all over my hands when I peel these? I don't know, but as long as your hands were not sticky beforehand, then I'm happy. Now that goes directly over an open flame. If you have grates, if you have a blowtorch, that works too. If you don't have either of those things, you can also put it under the broiler. The point is we just need to get these bad boys charred. Also, don't forget your jalapeno, 1 jalapeno. High heat, we're just gonna let those sit. We're gonna turn them constantly for about 3 to 5 minutes or until they're beautifully charred all the way around. You also don't have to wait if you don't want to. You can also skip this. It's not a necessity, just adds a little extra flavor. All right, now once those are done, you're gonna toss those into a bowl. Should be charred all the way around. The skin should already be peeling. Cover those with plastic wrap, just let it sit for a couple minutes to steam. Now, once they've steamed, you'll take them out and just with a damp paper towel, just kind of rub the charred skin off. I will say, you don't have to get it all off. I think a little bit of charred skin adds a nice flavor to the sauce. Just try to get the majority of it off. Same thing with the jalapeno. Here's a little trick for you. Just kind of run it through. People like that trick, I don't know why. I will say it's pretty crucial that you don't wash this. A lot of people like to wash the char off. No, you're literally washing away all those natural oils on the pepper, the tomatillos, etc. You're losing flavor. Don't do that. Just rub them off. I know you know how to do that. Okay, we have a blender. Now, we're gonna add our charred veg. I'm gonna take the stem off my jalapeno. My tomatillos, same thing. There's a little bit of a stem, sometimes there is. I like to remove them. Half of a white onion, 1 whole medium-sized avocado, obviously skin and pit removed, please. You'll be in for a pleasant surprise if you don't remove those. Best way to do it, you could just split it in half or split it into quarters, remove the pit. I do think avocados are easier to peel when you quarter them because you just grab the top and just peel it off. I don't know why, it's like nature's jacket, just comes right off when you do that. Okay, so all that goes into our blender. One final thing, a half bunch of your finest cilantro, stems, leaves, everything. Don't be shy, just throw the whole damn thing in there. Why throw the stems away? That's wasteful. They got flavor in them. A generous couple pinches of kosher salt and the juice of 2 limes, which if you want to maximize the juice out of your lime, beat the daylights out of that lime. Roll it around, throw it at the wall. You had a bad day? Get some limes and just throw them. Disclaimer, if they go through your wall, that is not my fault. I actually don't recommend that you do that. Please don't do that. What is going on? Okay, that is in. Now we just blend till smooth as possible. I will say, you always want to check for seasoning at this point. I think a lot of salsas, because they're so acidic, really lack salt. So taste for salt first. I mean, it tastes great, but it's lacking salt. So we're gonna add a little bit more. This is the time to do it. Make sure it's seasoned perfectly. Blend that salt in, and your salsa is done. Look at this, dude. It's a little creamy, it's a little oniony, a little acidic, and just a hint of spice. This is what will go on to our steak taco. That said, let's make our tortillas. We're gonna do the easier way to make your own corn tortilla, which is literally just 2 cups of masa flour. I highly recommend getting it from Hacienda. It's my favorite place. This is not sponsored, I just like them. That's gonna go into a bowl, a generous pinch of salt to my masa flour, stir that in, and then 2 cups of water. We're gonna just mix that by hand. I want you to get in there, you know, get to know the masa. At first it's gonna feel a little loose and you're like, uh-oh, are we okay? But then all of a sudden magic happens. I don't know what kind of witchcraft it is, but it goes from sort of a liquidy mess to a paste. And then finally, after a little bit of kneading, a little bit of time, you've got a beautiful, smooth ball of masa dough. Now we can make our tortilla. That's literally how quick it is. Crazy. Now you're gonna need about 40-gram balls. Nice. You roll that into a nice circular ball onto a tortilla press. I plastic wrapped both sides so it doesn't stick. It's just gonna go down Just like that, right? Double check and make sure that you're pressing it the size you want. We'll go a little thinner. Beautiful, look at that. Oh, Josh, what if I just use pre-made tortillas? You can, and I'm not gonna judge you for it, but I will say, this takes realistically an additional 20 to 30 minutes. But the product is 10 times better. Genuinely, I mean that, to me. Your choice. That said, to cook one of these bad boys, really hot flat top or a hot cast iron pan dry, set over medium-high heat. Once it's really hot, you're gonna take this bad boy, and here's how you put these on, okay? You don't gently put it on, you slap them on there like that. Make sure that they fully adhere. Just let her do her thing. Now, once it starts to move around the pan like this, it's pretty much done. It's almost cooked all the way through, so you need to move quickly here. That's like maybe 45 seconds to a minute. Flip, and then just quickly cook the other side. It is very important. You almost want these to be sort of like a medium rare, so to speak. And by that I mean, don't let these cook until they go completely dry. Sometimes they'll inflate a little bit. That's okay. That's actually a good thing. You can tell that this bad boy is done. It's a little dry, so immediately put that into, this is actually tortilla holder that Masienda sells. I really sounds like I'm promoting these guys. You can put them in a folded towel, just keep them warm somewhere where they can steam and stay pliable. But the point is to know that they're cooked through, but not overcooked. They should still be pliable without breaking. If they break really easily, then either they're overcooked or they need to steam a little bit longer. Repeat that until you get about 15 to 20 tortillas. It's a lot, but each person's gonna eat what, 3, 4 of these bad boys? What makes this the perfect ribeye steak taco is the thinness of the beef and how you assemble the whole thing. So first, don't look at this. I know what you're thinking, Josh, I don't have a fucking meat slicer. I get it, don't worry, I've got a plan for you. If you have a meat slicer or you have a very sharp knife and you're willing to do your due diligence, you want to cut this as close to paper as possible. So I have a beautiful ribeye, look at this thing. Look at this stunning ribeye. You know, I almost wanna sing, but I can't because the song I would sing is copyrighted. You wanna slice this as thinly as possible so that it is one singular piece. God, I forgot how awesome it is to have a meat slicer. I'm not trying to flex, I'm just saying it's actually sick as f. Why? Because you get this. You wanna talk about meat curtains? These are meat curtains, dude. You have a whole slice of ribeye, perfectly intact, thin as paper. I mean, it's stunning. So you're gonna get about a pound of that roughly and just slice it up, stack them nicely. It's so beautiful. When you slice beef this thin, something happens to it. The Korean barbecue places, they get this, they understand this. Something special's happening right now. We're taking all those long, chewy fibers and making them so short and cutting them across the grain that this thing is gonna be so delightfully tender. The fat is gonna be so beautifully and perfectly melted, and specifically it being ribeye is what's gonna keep it from going dry, because look at the marbling of this beef. That is not gonna be dry at all. That's gonna be juicier. I'll stop myself there. All right, that should be enough. Look at that, dude. It's like a stack of cards. Beautiful. Now, keep that cold. Now I'm gonna show you my secret. If you don't have a meat slicer, well, why would I get a meat slicer if there's a workaround? The reality is, by having a meat slicer, you get to control what the steak is gonna be, which is ribeye. The trick, if you don't have that, an Asian market, going to get shabu beef. This is Kobe beef, top blade. This is a Wagyu. You don't have to buy the Wagyu one, but look at this. Beautifully thinly sliced beef. They already have a meat slicer where they do all that thin meat slicing for you. This is even thinner than what I can get. I mean, this is literally like paper. Beautiful. We're gonna be making sort of a crispy cheese skirt, if you will. And I'm using quesillo cheese. This is also called Oaxaca cheese. There are many names for it. You just need a nice melting cheese that's firm, and you're gonna coarsely grate that. It doesn't need to be perfect. And this is kind of difficult to grate. If it starts getting hard, you can also just like break it up with your hands, because ultimately we're literally gonna melt it directly on our griddle. Boom, look at that. Beautiful. Okay, now for our garnishes, keeping it very simple. Cilantro, onion, lime wedge. So for the onion, I want this to be diced as small as possible. It really doesn't matter how you do it. You could dice it perfectly, you could brunoise it, rough chop it, and then just make it really fine with your knife. Do it however you wanna do it. I'm gonna do a little bit of a brunoise because I'm insufferable. The way I like to do mine, because I'm very anal about the size of it, is I'll actually cut off both the root and the top. You only need a half onion's worth, by the way. And then I'll split these into petals. So you've got these single layers. You're gonna flatten them out, and then you're just gonna run your knife along and slice these sort of fingers. And they're about 1/4 inch wide. Once you've done that, you're then just going to go the other direction, the same width, about 1/4 of an inch. So you end up with perfect little tiny brunoise cubes. Look at these. They look like little baby teeth. That's what I like on my taco, baby teeth. This is the slowest way you could do it. I get it. Not everyone has time for this. Then don't do it. Cut it however the you want to cut it? God damn. Lime wedges. You can do them traditional wedges. I actually like to do cheeks. I'm not trying to make a joke here. To cheek a lime. It's very easy actually. Instead of cutting it directly in half, identify where that center point is and just go off center of that just so you remove an outer cheek. It should look kind of like that. See? Then you're gonna rotate, repeat, rotate, repeat, rotate, and repeat. Okay? You're left behind with this. Put this in the fridge, the freezer. You can juice this. You can put a little bit in your drink, but you're not gonna use this for your taco. These are what you're gonna use for your taco. Now, I prefer to do this because I think this gets you the most bang for your buck with juice. Wedges, the juice gets kind of caught up in the gnarled kind of pith and flesh of the lime. This will maximize the juice coming out. Personal preference, I also think it looks pretty, right? So repeat that with 3 limes, and then once you're done, we're ready to assemble. Now, to cook these tacos, you're gonna do 2 things at once. First, we're gonna make our cheese skirt. Now, if you're using a large griddle like this, one side will be medium high, the other will be medium. Or you can use 2 large cast iron pans. Now, on the medium side, add a little bit of your cheese, about the size of the tortilla. Let that melt down. Once it's halfway melted, add your tortilla on top, and let that cook until caramelized and crispy, about 1 to 2 minutes. Now, while that's going, in the medium high one, slap in 1 slice of your beef. Sear it for about 1 minute, season with salt and pepper, flip, sear the other side for another 30 seconds, add a little bit more salt, and take that off. Once your cheese skirt is done, flip your tortilla over, heat the other side, and to assemble, add your beef on top of your cheese skirt, followed by your salsa, white onion, a little bit of flaky salt, cilantro, and a touch of lime juice. Repeat with the rest of your tortillas and beef. Where did this idea come from? It's from one of my favorite restaurants, Este in Austin, Texas. My friend Fermin Nunez does it. He has not told me the recipe, but shout out to him. Cheers. I mean, honestly, hands down, this is to me the perfect steak taco. It's not hard to chew. You bite into it and you got that soft corn tortilla on the outside, the fragrance of the corn, and then immediately the crunch, the chew of that sort of caramelized cheese skirt, and then inside filled with this almost Wagyu level, fatty, rich, melt in your mouth, thinly sliced beef. And the beauty of it is you don't lose the flavor of the beef in this. It's very present and it's nice. It's deeply rich. Get that Maillard, you can taste the smokiness on it. And then of course the acidity from the salsa. You can finish that with a little flaky salt. It's perfectly balanced. Salty, fatty, acid, crunch, cheesy. This to me is the perfect steak taco. Don't forget to subscribe. Love you, bye.